all of my lovely friends. Jan of Hicks Creates here, coming at you with all the stuff I worked on this week. Now I will say I was in an excellent mood as I started to get set up for this video, and then when I looked at, I was working on my Star Center quilt, my Jeanette Douglas piece last night, and when I looked at it as I'm setting everything up here, I realized everything I did last night I have to rip out. Talk about ruining the mood. I'll show you that in a second, but right now I'm just like, oh, fresher. God. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to all of my lovely friends who have been with me through all of my craziness. And welcome to you new folks. Yeah, things can get kind of crazy around here. I have a couple crazy things to show you today. Lots of good stitching, winners to announce, just a little bit of haul. I really am trying to rein it back in. I got a little crazy. You know, I think there really is something to retail therapy, right? But it's time to start reining it back in a little bit, because RV, not a whole lot of storage. Of course, on the converse side of that, I am stocking up for retirement, which is looming in our future. So yeah, I have enough to stitch to last me until the end of time, I think. Anyways, I hope you guys are doing well. I wanted to start by saying thank you to all of those who bought me a coffee, both this past video and the video before when I first announced it. It really does mean a lot to me to know that you're willing to support me, that you'll go out of your way to add a few coffees to my life, that you appreciate and find useful what I'm doing here. And that's the main thing. You know, I could be sitting here talking to the air, and if it isn't useful to you, if I'm not providing you good information, as well as entertainment and a few laughs, I think we can all agree, you're going to get some of that around here. I would feel like I'm not providing you enough. So I'm glad to know that, yeah, you like what I'm doing. I think I might continue. Considering I've been doing this for, what, 2.5 years now? Yeah, time flies. All right, so it is Thursday, October 1st. October, people. Yeah, hard to believe. Hard to believe. October 1st, 11:09 a.m. here in San Antonio, Texas, 77 degrees and sunny. Not a cloud in the sky for the past few days. It's been getting down into the upper 50s at night. It's just been gorgeous here. You know, it's been 2 years, I guess, 2.5 years since, going on 3 years, since I've experienced fall, you know, real fall. And yeah, I think I'm gonna like it. I told Mike I think I need to buy some boots. I love boots. I love all kinds of boots. I definitely need some cowboy boots, right? All right, so let's see. For the coffee thing, for you guys that are new, if you haven't heard about this before, this is just kind of a easy way for you to reach out and say thank you to me for the work I put into the videos, for any knowledge that I'm sharing with you that you might find useful, even to help defray the postage cost from the giveaways that I do. There is a link down in my description box that you just need to click on, and it'll take you to where all the action is. So yeah, thank you guys. I do appreciate it. And it's kind of like, oh, she bought me a coffee. Oh, she bought me 3 coffees. She must really like me. I like you too. All right, so what else? I wanted to follow up with some information on the tip I shared last week about stitching with the eye coming back up through the needle. Several of you do use that method. Joanne said that she finds that it helps to keep her floss from twisting too much. And I think that's the same that goes with the sewing method, which is why my strands tend to lay flatter. Because you're not going down and coming back up, you're really not handling the needle as much. And so, you know, you're not twisting the needle as much. And so that helps with that. Somebody else suggested that, or said that they find that for the 1/1 stitching, I've mentioned before that I cannot do my sewing method with the 1/1 because the distance to go down and come back up just isn't enough. I find that I'm pulling the threads of the linen apart too much doing it on 1/1. So I forgot to note down who said this, but one of you did mention that when stitching 1/1 and coming back up eye first, it does help to speed up that method as well. I tried it with one of my projects this week. I had limited success. I think it would work better doing two-handed on a frame of some sort. So maybe next time I get Farewell to Anger out, I will play with that there. Okay, I think that is all of my notes from last week. I have a couple other things I will need to show you on my iPad, but right now my iPad is piled up with stitchy goodness. So let's get started. I do have a finish. Now it's a very little finish, but I had mentioned that I had gotten the Treasure Braid Rainbow Gallery to finish up my first glitter house. And so here that is. So the metallic thread, you can see a little bit, it just goes around the door. There's a few of these little stars on the bottom that are metallic, and there's a few little places in the tree. Now, I also put a little bit of metallic in each of these wreaths to kind of mimic candles in a window. So I was celebrating that, yay, I got this one done. I can mark this off. And then I realized as I was looking at it that there are, I don't know whether you can see here, I am missing two little blue stitches right in here. When I was stitching it, I must have run out of blue thread, didn't have enough for those last two stitches, and decided, okay, I'm going to go work on something else and come back to this, and obviously I never came back to it. So it's still not done. Grr. It'll get there. I forgot to show you this last week. I pulled this out and started to work on it. Another one of my Christmas in July starts. I had a doctor's appointment I had to go to last week. Was it just last week or the week before? I guess it was the week before, and I should have shown you this last week. So this is by the Drawn Thread. It's called Little Bits of Christmas. It's just these little squares that you can actually pick and choose how you want to arrange them. I'm doing them all in a square like this. So I've completed the first two and I've started this third one, the house. And so that's what I have. And what I did was just kind of outlined a bunch of things. You can see thread hanging here so that when I took it to the doctor's appointment, I wouldn't need the pattern. I could just fill in. So that's kind of what you're seeing there. I still have to fill in Santa's face, I see. So yes, the first square is not done. Details today, apparently. Oh my. I think that's actually calls for some DMC. I am probably not using the called for flosses, but something close. And I think, that's like a pale skin color and cheeks or whatever that goes there. So worked on that a little bit. I did not pick it up since the doctor's appointment. I don't know that I will until at least November with my pumpkins. I said pumpkins. With my pumpkins for sale piece that I started this morning, October 1st, for the October stitch along, stitchtober. I need to look up what they're calling it. The Fat Quarter Shop October stitch celebration. Okay, another thing that I am picking up here and there when I just need some Zen stitching. This is Beachcomber, Carolyn Manning Designs, one of her Shooting Star series. This is all DMC, the called for DMC on a 25 count Lugana. And again, this is such a lovely stitch. I keep this by my chair, so when I just need something easy, I can pick this up. Love it, love it, love it. The other one I keep by my chair to pick up whenever I feel the need is my new pattern, Filigree in Rose, except in my case, it's Filigree in Toxic. So Toxic is Mrs. Sedas, S-E-D-A-S, silk. Now she did put this up for sale. Skeins, I don't know whether she had small skeins. I think she might have just had big skeins of Toxic. I want to say 2 days ago. She announced it on both Instagram and Facebook. I shared it on my Facebook page and group. And I don't know how quickly that it sold out, but within an hour or so, I would say. So it is sold out. I'm sure she is dying more. Keep an eye, if you're interested in getting some of this, keep your eye on her Etsy shop, or not her Etsy shop, her website. I will have that linked below. So this is 40 count fabric. This is Vicki Clayton's bleached 40 count fabric that I got. So I'm stitching this one strand of silk over 2. And I'm loving this. And I am color controlling between the reds and the greens. And you know, there's mixing into browns and golds in here. It's just, I mean, she calls it, like I said last week, she calls it Toxic. I call it the celebration of autumn. So this is about almost halfway done. So I hope to get done with that. Probably not by next week, but soon thereafter. And I think I'm just going to finish this probably as a little pillow. By the way, thank you to all of those. You know, I had mentioned last week that I have nothing to stuff any pillows with, even if I did happen to sew things together. And several of you mentioned that I should like go to Target or something and just buy a pillow that has not a form in it, but that has stuffing in it, and just use that. It would be a cheap way. Actually, I don't know whether it would be any cheaper than buying a bag of polyfill, but it did lead me to think that I could go to like Goodwill and buy a pillow there and just cannibalize it. We'll see. There's a bunch of Goodwills. There's a bunch of thrift stores, period, around here. I have not ventured into any yet. I am itching to, but I am also reluctant to. So, you know how that goes. Prim Stitch Series by Fat Quarter Shop Lori Holt. Bee in My Bonnet. All those things that it's called. So I am, as you can see, working on number 3. I just have to fill in. There's a couple different pinks that go in the center of the stars. I have to finish the rest of this basket and then work on the border. So I expect I'll get this stitching in here done today. And then I'll work on the border. The next piece comes out the 5th or the 6th. So I have a few days yet to get this done. You can see I got the little French knot eyes on my angel. She's looking a little bit, oh, I guess she looks more lined up in real life. Did the eyes look lined up to you? On the screen, they don't to me. But anyways, I actually don't use French knots. I use colonial knots all the time. In fact, I'm so used to using them that when I do them, when the pattern says French knot, I just automatically do a colonial knot. I find it easier to accomplish than the French knots, and I've never had any problem with them staying put and, you know, doing what they're supposed to do. And I mean, it has the same look, right? So if you want me to do a video on the colonial knot, I will. The other thing I've been working on, not as much as I should, but here and there, little bits at a time. This is the next piece in my 3D design. So this is the background piece with all the lettering on it. This is on a 32 count fabric, and I have to tell you about this floss. I am using Green Tea Leaf by the Gentle Art. Now, I will be providing a DMC conversion for this, but I tell you what, if you can splurge on just one of the flosses, I would recommend you splurging on this one. Now, I don't know that it's coming through as clear, but this is a scrumptious colored floss. It has light browns and dark browns, and it also has this kind of pewtery blue in here. Let's see if I put it on the fabric, if you can see. I know that the light's blowing it out. Can you see that? It is scrumptious. So yeah, I would recommend, if you can, at the very least, splurge on this floss if you're doing this piece. I don't know yet how many skeins I'm going to need. I have 2 skeins here. I am probably about halfway done with one of them, but I still have, let's see, up here I have a band of letters to put across, and then down in the center here I have kind of a V-shaped section of letters. So I don't know whether 2 skeins are going to be enough, but that is one of the other things I'm working on. Now, let's talk about my Star Center quilt. I'm not going to put it in timeout because I do want to keep working on it. I am in love with this. It is, you can see I moved the scroll rods down, so the alphabet is a little hidden. It's scrumptious. It really is. She has a blue and green color, or blue and red colorway. There's the red. This is the blue. And so I'm doing the blue. And what okay, so I knew before I set up today that I had already done these squares on either side wrong. They needed to be down 8 linen threads, so 3 full 2 linen thread stitches, right over 2. I had 4 in my mind. I counted down 4 threads. So neither of these are down far enough. So those will all have to come out. And then I looked at the pattern before I sat down to record because it's been a while. Well, here's a mess today. It needs cut desperately. When this is uploading, I'm going to be calling the hairdresser. I thought, you know, it's been a while since I've actually looked at the picture, and I brought it out to show you guys, right? So I looked at the picture and went, wait a second. That center diamond doesn't look like the right colors. So if you look at this, there's a light and a dark, right? This outer diamond going along here. It is Classic Colorworks Baguette, and I think it's also Classic Colorworks Limestone. The dark color is the limestone. It's the same floss that's used in the background on these, and in this border here, and in the outer border here. And I have to say, as I was working, let me show you the actual piece. As I was working, hold please. My glasses are trying to get away from me. As I was working these two here, I'm starting to get the feeling that this limestone, and that's what this background, the dark brown is. I was starting to get the feeling that it's going to be close with this color. I got the thread pack, and I'm just starting to feel, you know, I hope I'm not using this a whole lot more other than this outer border, this inner border, and these squares, because this is going to be close. And then I got to this, and I thought, boy, that's a lot of limestone used in there as well. But I started it, and you can see, instead of the baguette, the pale color being dominant, the dark color, limestone, is dominant. And I could swear that's what the pattern says. Now, I haven't gone back to double check it yet. But I do like it, and I could leave it. I could buy, and I probably will buy another skein of limestone. Dye colors, that dye lots probably won't match. But I probably will buy one just to be safe as I get further along. But you can see the pale color is what is dominant on this big border. So all that, and that's what I would prefer. Not only because I'm running out of limestone, I feel, but also, and you know, when I say running out, I probably still have 6, no, not 6. I probably have 12 to 15 lengths left, and the lengths are at least 18 inches. They're pretty good, you know, length, but it's just, I just feel like it's getting kind of close. But anyways, that will have to come out. And because it is something that I'm worried about having enough of, I am going to have to take out stitch by stitch instead of snipping through it, which would be faster. So yeah. What did I work on last night? I worked on these 2 squares and that. I do adore this piece. I especially love, see this stitch here in this corner, both corners? That's called the pinwheel stitch. It's done in the Lavender Honey from Thread Gatherer. It is gorgeous. It's the same floss that is used up here in the alphabet. It's just so pretty. The texture, the light shining off, all of it is gorgeous. So yeah, you know what I'll be doing tonight. Grr. All right, so what else have I been working on? We're kind of moving into the new stuff as well as what I've been working on. So just kind of, let's see what to show you first. Let me show you this first. All right, so pumpkins for sale. Right? As you know, I had decided I was going to do it on this fabric that I got from Fibers on a Whim. This is not an even weave. This is not meant for stitching, but I figure if there's a weave on it, it can be stitched on. You could probably do embroidery on it much better, but heck, I'm doing cross stitch. And as you know, I am changing all the colors. Well, not all the colors. I'm not using the called for DMC, or Weeks is the other company, but I am using overdyes and my own special colorway. So this is the start of this pumpkin here. And I am going to take out the scarecrow. And I am still undecided whether I will just take this pumpkin out too and move everything over, or whether I will put another sunflower in here. I can't decide. I have time before I have to decide that. So the count on this is like 44 by, I think it's 56 or 58. No, it's more than that. Yeah, 56 is what it was. Now, Lynette, she's brilliant. She knows so much about so much. She suggested that because of the discrepancy in the count, that I do like 2/3. No, not 2/3. That's not what I mean to say. That I do over 2 one way and over 3 the other way. Does that make sense? To have it come out more square. Now, that would work better if this were more, if the one side were more like double, if it were 44 by 88, right? Is that right? So it's not perfect. It's going to still be a little elongated. So I am, and I don't think you'll be able to tell. I am doing, my squares are 2 threads this way and 3 threads, gotta get rid of that cat hair, and 3 threads up and down. So because it isn't like a double, exact double, I don't know whether you can tell, it blurs out when I try and get in too close. It's not, my squares are a little elongated, a little bit tall. So the whole piece is going to be a little bit tall. But as I said before, when I first went into this, I knew my squares are going to be wonky anyways. I'm not worried about it. This is just kind of a fun, see what happens, do something crazy kind of piece. I loved this fabric and I still love the color. I think it's going to look really fun. I did pull out a piece of the bigger piece of fabric that was kind of overall lighter. There's some darker modeling, but for the most part where the design will be, it's overall lighter. But I am trying to use lighter colors. So let's talk about that. My color inspiration is this. This was a set by Kelly Stadola, That's So Kellyco. And I saw this fabric and just, I mean, really gasped. This is perfect for what I want to have happen here. So I'm modeling it kind of after this, a blue with some white, and then also this kind of peachy orange with some darker orange through it. Softer greens than what you're going to find here. Yeah. Is that not gorgeous? So this set sold out like, I don't know, 10 minutes. All of Kelly's stuff does. I recommend, and I will link her Etsy shop below. I recommend that you sign up for Kelly's newsletter. If you follow her on Instagram, or if you're on Instagram, follow her on Instagram. And I will put all this information below so that you can get a heads up. She uploads stuff to her Etsy shop, I want to say every Thursday or every Friday at 3 p.m. Central. And so if you have a heads up, and she'll show you pictures of what's going up this week in her newsletter. So if you see something that you just have to have, then you can, be aware of it, schedule it, and jump right on, which is what I did. So what's really cool about this set, so you have a project bag. And then inside, there is not just the one pocket, but there's also a vinyl pocket in here. Whether can you see that? There, the vinyl pocket. And it also came with one of her little smaller Bitsy Bob thingies. Bitsy Bud? What does she call these? I forget. Cuties. And so you can see my floss is hanging on there. And so, whenever you have the floss on your Bitsy Bob like this, you don't want this to touch other fabric because the floss will come off on the other fabric. So you can just slide it into the vinyl pocket, and that kind of protects the floss there. This set also came with, get the right pocket opened here, a thread keep, a super cute thread keep. Look how cute he is. And some stickers, and those that are getting some little giveaways from me may see these stickers on their packages. So, love it, love it, love it. So yes, that's what I used as my color inspiration for Pumpkins for Sale. So, what colors did I choose? And these are all just random things that I had in my stash. My light colored pumpkins. Now this happens to be a limited edition Gentle Arts thread, so I do not have a name for this. But it is creams and kind of greeny teal. And then I have this is weak sea foam to be kind of the indentations, the shadows. So that's my light colored pumpkins. And then my orangey pumpkins are going to be Victorian Motto Blooming Dahlia, which you can see is kind of a very pale peach, and then highlighted with This is Gentle Arts Pumpkin Patch. So those are my pumpkin colors. And then Various and Sundry, what is that? Zach Black. My crows are going to be wrought iron. So wrought iron is Gentle Arts, that's kind of a black with some purple overtones. And so, you know, crows, ravens, whichever, they kind of have that oily black look. So that's kind of what that is. And then there's another shade of gray for his wing, for the crow's wings, and that is Classic Colorworks Zach Black. So that's my crows. My greens are, let's see, this is Seaweed by Weeks Dye Works and Four Leaf Clover by Classic Colorworks. So the light and the dark green. My yellows for the sunflower, we have Daffodil by Gentle Arts and Curry by Weeks. So light and dark yellow. My signpost. So the signpost they have in red. I decided I wanted it to be more like a rust. So I got out Mulberry. This is Gentle Arts Mulberry. It's kind of a rusty red. And then I also pulled out, I actually have some variegated Sullivans. Some of you guys have asked me what it's like to stitch with Sullivans. So I got this out too. You can see this is a variety of reds and pinks and browns. I don't know that I'll use that. I'm gonna probably use this, but we'll see. I might play with both and see what they look like. And then the sign will be, what is this? This is Classic Colorworks Mariner's Compass. This is one of their new ones. And so it's a much paler, but it'll stand out good on this fabric. And instead of blue for the wording, I'll use one of the blacks. So I worked on that this morning. It's a little tricky when you're used to going over two. Now, of course, it's tricky number one because it's the count of the fabric is so high. But it's also tricky because when you're used to going over two, I mean, I automatically see the squares in linen. So I really have to be careful and count the 3 threads. In fact, to the point where I'm, you know, as I'm stitching, I'm going, okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I can go down there and then over 2 and up. You know, I'm actually counting each thread. So it's much slower going than normal. I'm sure that once my eyes get used to it some more, it will go faster. But, you know, that's okay. For now, slow stitching is okay. All right, so that goes in there. Last, to show you, let me see if I can get all this over here without sending you flying, because this is a big girl. I'm gonna have to actually stand up. All right, this was a total impulse buy, but that's okay, because sometimes you got to do that. I periodically spend time on the Facebook group called Our Sampler Years. And I especially, well, let me back up. Every week, I think for a while now, the moderator of the group, who is Vicki Jeanette, I believe she is the designer and owner, or one of them, I think it's her and her daughter, of Needlework Press. Weekly, every other couple weeks, she'll ask, show me your Bristol samplers. Show me your samplers with Adam and Eve in them. Show me your, you know, that kind of thing. Well, a couple weeks ago, her show me post was show me your band samplers. And as you know, if you've been with me for any, for any length of time, while I'm not a big traditional sampler stitcher, I don't like people on my samplers. The borders all the same around kind of bore me. I love band samplers. again, if you've been with me for a while, I've talked before about how designs with things in little boxes appeals to me. I think that's one of the reasons why band samplers appeal to me, those bands of pretty things. So I had a wonderful time. I have a wonderful time anytime looking through that group and seeing all the beautiful things. Just because I don't personally want to stitch samplers doesn't mean I don't love them, that I don't appreciate them for what they are. So I really enjoy looking through all the pictures in that group and just seeing the amazing work that people do. It's amazing is what it is, if I mentioned that. So, oh, there's a little dad out there pulling a little guy in a little cart thingy. So cute. Squirrel. No squirrels today. So, I am not usually inspired to immediately go and find something that is shown, but in this case I was, and it's also an Etsy shop I had not been aware of before, although in the sampler world you guys all know her, right? The Exemplary Shop. This is the name here, The Exemplary. She is located in Michigan, I believe. Yes, Dearborn, Michigan. The designer is Joanne Harvey. And like I said, she is well known in the sampler world. But this is the sampler I saw, the Margaret Howden sampler. Yeah, I had to get it. So this is a band sampler. She says that it is, the name is on it, there is no date. She says this is part of a small yet quite important collection of colonial New England samplers. This grouping includes specific motifs that can be found both on early Newport and Boston samplers worked between the early 1720s through the end of the 18th century. So they have a general time frame for this sampler because of the motifs used. Yeah, I had to get it. It is a kit. I bought the last one she currently had in stock. I don't know how soon she replenishes her stock. I don't know if it's available anywhere else. My understanding is she only offers things as kits. But I got it. I started it. So, like I said, kit, it is 35 count linen. I do have it on my scroll rods. Now, somebody had asked me what type of scroll frame I use. These are called handy clamps. I do get them off of Amazon. I find them easy to use because there is a Q-snap-like clamp that you use to hold your fabric in place. Now, you asked me, somebody asked me if it keeps the fabric tight. No, it doesn't. I think if I had those little things that go on the side of your stretcher bars, that would help. It being a little bit loose doesn't bother me because it means I can do the sewing method when the fabric's looser. So, she called for basting lines, putting basting lines in to help you determine, you can barely even see this one here, determine where you start on the fabric, where the borders land. You do the centers first and then come out and do the borders. So this is my start. It is all DMC. Like I said, it is a kit. She provided the fabric. She provided all the floss, tons of floss. Needles, both needles special for satin stitching and needles for the regular stitching. And there must be 5 or 6 needles in the little packet. That is here. This is the satin stitch needles. I don't know how many are in there, and this is the regular needles. They are a smaller eye, but I don't have a problem threading them. She provides a little paper to put on the back of your finished piece, giving your information, and the instructions are amazing. So detailed, so well, clearly laid out. There's a lot to them, and I did read through them all first before I touched the actual stitching part of it. So I have a pretty good idea of where we're going. My only problem with this, and I posted both on Instagram and my Facebook group, is the color used for this word here. Now, when I first, it is, I don't know, she doesn't give the DMC color numbers, she gives the name, and I don't know what this equates to. I tried looking it up and nothing. She calls this ultralight cream. There's no color called ultralight cream that I could find, but there is a lot of it, right? Tons of that color. It's also used in the separating band underneath here. This is long arm cross underneath here. When I first looked at the pattern, at the picture, and I tried to read the words, here, 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 you can see all the way through it, I was kind of annoyed because you cannot read them. They're too pale. But never having done samplers, I thought, you know, is it kosher to just change? Are you allowed to do that on a reproduction sampler? I know I'm allowed to do whatever I want. I own it now, but I kind of wanted to get a feel for what most people would do. And pretty much everybody said, now these are called ghost letters when you can't really read them. I was hoping that, I guess what I started to say when I looked at the picture, I thought, oh, that's kind of annoying, but I bet you I'll be able to see it better in real life, right? And I definitely can see it better, but it's still, you know, if it's hanging on a wall, that picture, that word still disappears in that color. So I am going to be taking that out. I don't know for sure what color I'm going to replace it with, probably this one. Now, as you know, as I keep saying, you're probably tired of hearing me say it, I don't have my stuff yet. But I did get the pack of DMC for the pumpkins for sale. And it just happens to have 738, which is still a kind of a pale, creamy color, but it has a little bit more orange to it, a little bit more color. So I do want to kind of keep with the sense of this and not totally change the color, but I do want it to be seen. So I think that's what I'm going to go with. And on screen, it really looks like quite a different color. Now what that does mean is that I am going to have to take out, so the first letter is 2 strands over 2, and then the other letters are 1 strand over 1. So that means I'm gonna have to take that out. Now, one of you, it's a few videos back, asked if I could show how to take out 1 over 1 stitches. So for today's tips and tricks, that's what we're going to do. So I am going to break here, get my camera set up for you to look down on my work, and I will very carefully show you. I will show you how to very carefully take out 1 over 1 stitching. So be right back. All right, kids, let's do this. Now, I know that for those of you that are practiced sewists, using a seam ripper isn't going to be a big deal to you. But I know that there's a lot of people out there too who maybe have never even seen a seam ripper, let alone used it. And of course, using it for something like this is always a little scary. And the thought of doing this on camera, especially with this kind of special treat, or excuse me, special piece, does have me a little bit, my palms are a little sweaty. But anyways, this is my seam, well, this is one of my seam rippers. This is a tiny one, tiny little one. It has this little cap. It's called the Seam Fix. So this fits in my little bag of goodies, of notions that I keep next to my chair. So take that off. Now this cap is kind of rubberized, so it can help me kind of loosen up the threads once I've ripped them out and clean them up a little bit. And it also helps to get the fabric back into the right kind of order after doing this, because the threads get kind of pulled out of sync. So the big stitches are easy. But still, anytime I'm using any type of cutting tool anywhere near a project, I go slow, I have good lighting, I take it easy. And I only work the top thread. I don't even bother trying to get down underneath of them because I would rather have to make a couple passes and protect my fabric than taking the chance of putting a hole in the fabric. So you can see the slicing mechanism is actually back here, right underneath this little red dot. And so I'm just sliding the stitch in and pushing it back till it meets that. So big stitches are easy to see, easy to rip out. Now those won't come out yet. I go under the other leg, and these ones I'm not really ripping, I'm just getting that little hook underneath there and pulling up. And again, this is DMC thread, but it works the same for silk. And then I get my little rubber tip and kind of pull those out, brush it on there, loosen them up. And of course, you know, some of the threads are still, the ends are still connected to the stitches already there. So I do that again. Just being careful to catch the top leg first and then pulling out the bottom leg carefully. I keep the seam ripper parallel to the fabric so that I have less chance of catching the fabric. All right, so there is the big letter. That one, you can see there's still one little piece of the leg, the bottom leg there. Pull that out. Now this hasn't gotten, the fabric hasn't gotten warped too badly. I don't pull hard on my fabric when I'm making stitches, so it's not like it's distorting the fabric weave too much. But if it is, this is what this is for. You just kind of go over, and that kind of gets the weave back into place. All right, now these little guys, and these are the hard ones. So this is a cross. It's hard to see that these are crosses, but again, I'm just going to very carefully find that top leg with the point and go under. And I don't even think I got the full top leg there, but I just am super, super careful that I do not penetrate the fabric at all. And like I said, I would rather make several passes at this to get it all out than take the chance of ripping the fabric. It is fairly tight. The seam ripper is bigger than the needle that I'm using, so it is kind of hard to get it in there. So I think I'm going to stop there, go back, and you can tell it starts to get kind of fuzzy, so it gets hard to see as well. So I'm going to go back and find that bottom leg. Now that one, I still have part of the top leg there. Let's see if I can take out the bottom leg. And again, this is where it gets really tricky because I can't see with the fuzz. So I'm just very lightly going back over the other way, keeping the seam ripper parallel to the fabric. I think the problem is I did not, most of these I only caught the top, or just one ply of the top leg. But like I said, that's okay. I would rather take longer to do this and be more sure of the fabric than rush through it. And of course, because the fabric and the color of floss are so close, it's, whoops, sending the lid flying. It's really hard to catch. Now I'm going to turn it over because I'm having a hard time seeing. So now I'm going to turn it over and work on the back. And work more to pull those stitches out from the back. Again, it is really hard. I do not know, because I'm not a sewer, you guys know that. Are there different size seam rippers? Like, are there smaller ones, more petite ones, more fine? Or are they pretty much all the same size? If there isn't, there should be. Now I could always get my needle and do this too, like to try and pull the floss out. It's starting to come loose. But this is basically it. I go back and forth, front to back, teasing, teasing, teasing out the strands, never ever rushing, never going too deep. Keep this parallel, and eventually, and like I said, this is just hard. You know, you have all these tufts of floss. This is matching the fabric. My light right now isn't the best. You know, if I were really doing this for real, I'd be under my bright light. So I hope this gives you an idea of best practices for taking out stitches. I would have been under my light to do this, but I don't have any place to hook up my my stand that holds my phone when I'm doing this type of recording overhead. So I am here by one of the big windows in the rig. All right, let's see if any of that comes out. Not yet. I'm going to flip it back over to the front. See what it looks like here. And once you start getting some out, then the other ones start to come out more easily, right? Once you have a start, because then it's just pulling the thread out. But I'm really having a hard time figuring out which is the thread and which is the linen, because the color is so close. Definitely reinforces my decision to change the color on this word. All right. So there was a good chunk of that out. Let's see if there's anything else I can pry up here. I think I still have some there. Some there. Oh, that's right. I did those across that row. And that's the other thing, you know, you don't remember what direction you went when you did all this stitching, right? So what would make the most sense to, you know, why isn't that one coming out? Oh, because it's connected over there. because I jumped when I did that one. All right. There's another one there, I think, but I'm not seeing it. Let's go. Oh, shoot. Let's turn back over one more time for you. See what we got going here. So we have this section almost totally out. Just a couple more threads to play with here. Alrighty, you are connected on the front. So that is the N pretty much done. I hope you found that useful. Please let me know, as always, if you have any follow-up questions on this. Hopefully by next week, I will have this word replaced with a different color. I feel like there's something there that I'm not getting. And have more of this beauty done. All right, I hope you found that useful. I will go turn around, back around now to my other camera, and we will continue on. Okay, wasn't that fun? I think I'm going to title this video All the Things I Have to Rip Out, or something like that. This one's all about ripping out. Something like that. Coming up with the titles is the hardest part of these videos. Okay, a couple things from my iPad that I wanted to show you. First, I had mentioned the Serendipity Stitch Along, the charity Stitch Along that Fat Quarter Shop will be doing in 2021. And I wanted to show you a picture of the cross-stitched piece, because I don't believe it's as easy to find as the quilt on the Fat Quarter Shop website. Now, nothing is really available to buy right now, but this gives you an idea of what it's going to look like. It is on a navy blue fabric, and I just think it's gorgeous. So that's Serendipity for those that might be thinking about what they're going to do next year. You know, there was one point in time when I thought, maybe I will make 2021 my year of whips. I have so many whips I need to get done. But then I'm going to be starting that. I already know in February I'm going to be starting that. So I know. All right, I have a couple new designs myself. They are both based on the same painting by my son. This is called Volatus. Volatus means flight or flying in Latin. This is just a small piece of one of his larger pieces. So that, and then I also made a smaller version of it, which is that, just that center stream coming down. So those are now available on my Etsy shop. Why do I keep saying Etsy shop? On my website, Volatus, V-O-L-A-T-U-S. This smaller one has 107 colors. They are full coverage. The larger one has 156 colors. The other thing I wanted to show you, now this is thanks to my dear friend, Marcia McGuire. She had pointed out this is an Etsy shop. She had pointed out this Etsy shop to me a few weeks ago, and I kept forgetting to make a note to show it to you. But this is like just an amazing shop. So this woman makes project bags, mostly knitting and totes, but they could certainly be used for carrying your stitching as well, especially the totes for, you know, your Q-snaps and stuff. What she does is she rescues stitching, whether it's cross stitch or embroidery, vintage lace, candle wicking, all kinds of needlepoint. She rescues that and uses the panels to make bags. And this one, you're gonna die. This one is new to her shop. I think yesterday she put it up. Shoot, I want to enlarge it. Look at that. That is one of the old lavender and lace ladies. So she found that in a thrift store and made it into a tote bag. Isn't that amazing? But all kinds of embroidery, needlepoint. Like I said, this is just regular embroidery, vintage lace. I'm kind of amazed at how much she finds. She may have people sending things to her. This one I thought was really cool. This is a tote bag that she made with bits and pieces of embroidery separated by like little bits of vintage fabric. Isn't that cool? I think that's such an awesome idea. So the one I really love, let me find it. I'm not going to be able to find it. I think some of these are like old hankies. Look at this. She even like stenciling. I mean, I just think this is so clever. Marcia, thank you for pointing this out to me. I have not gotten any yet. This is the one that I think is so pretty. Not my usual like bright colors, but vintage lace. Love it, love it, love it, love it. So I will be getting one of those at some point. I will be linking her below in case you would like to get one too. All right. The other thing I was going to show you, kind of along the tips and tricks, when I was looking for what that cream color might be in my Margaret Howden sampler, so that I could find like the next darkest color, I came across this website. It's just the DMC color substitute chart is what it's called. But what's really cool about this is, so it lists all the DMC colors. Actually, it doesn't have the most recent ones, the lower numbered ones. But what's really cool is you click on a color and it shows you what the closest colors to that are and what their number is and their name. So say you didn't have that color, you could come here and say, well, what's close to it that I might have? Or say, okay, that's a blue. Maybe I wanted to make it more purple. Is there one that's close that's more purple? And you could choose that one. I love this site. I think it's awesome. So I will be linking that below as well. So many cool, clever things out there. Let's see, what else? I think that's it. Except for the giveaway winners. I feel like there was something that I just thought of that then disappeared from my brain. If I don't have a note of it, it's not going to make it. I don't know. If I remember, I'll make a note to tell you next time. So, oh, that's what I'm going to tell you, the black comparison. I've started to do the stitching. It's going to take a little while to get through all of the different samples, to stitch up all of the different samples for you. But I am stitching on 14 count, 36 count, and over 1 on 25 count. And I expect there's going to be a few tips and tricks along the way in that one as well. So yeah. I think it's going to be a good video, but I am working on that. I was hoping to get it done to record this weekend. Probably not going to happen. Probably next week. So stay tuned for that. All right, winners of last week's giveaway. Last week's giveaway was the Prim chart number 3. I didn't bring them over here to put on the table, and the Pumpkins for Sale chart. So Prim, the Prim number 3, Prim series number 3 was won by Christine King. Christine, I will be commenting on your comment so that you can email me your address. And pumpkins for sale, the winner of that is Sarah Brown. Again, I will be commenting on your comments so you can email me. So yeah, congratulations, ladies. I hope you like those. For this week's giveaway, I have my extra bouquet for July. Those are clematis on there. I do know those flowers. Thank you so much to all of you that told me that the flowers that I asked about last week were cyclamen. We don't see cyclamen real often here, maybe further up north, but even when I lived in Maryland and Pennsylvania, they weren't a very common flower. So thank you for reminding me about that. All right, so if you are interested in getting this chart, leave a comment that says somehow works in the words blue cyclamen, or not cyclamen, blue clematis. Use the words blue clematis in a sentence. No word winner, no word giveaway, no word free. You must be 18 or over, etc., etc., etc. All right, guys, that's all except our angel card. I do love these. This one just says love down here at the bottom. Again, these are called Angel Kindness cards by Teresa Kogut. When you awake in the morning, ask yourself, what can I do today to become the person I want to be? You know what I did today? I'm starting October with yoga. I am getting back. My wrist is pretty much all better, so I'm getting back to yoga every day. So I started my morning with yoga. Pretty, pretty, pretty. You know, someday I am going to get a print from Teresa's shop. She has all the angels in print, like, you know, for hanging up. She has some cute new little Christmas ornaments. Oh, I need to give her more of my money. But anyways, what are you going to do today to become the person you want to be? Do you even know who you want to be? That's a hard question to begin with, isn't it? And it's not something I ever really thought about. I don't know that I really think about it now, quite frankly. I kind of like who I am, so we're going to go with that. Oh, goodness. I'm not sure what that means. All right, guys, that is all for today. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you found the tips useful. Again, if you have anything you want me to show you, let me know and I will be happy to help if it's something that, you know, I'm familiar with. Oh, I know what I wanted to show you. There's those of you who don't care about knitting can go ahead and go. We're pretty much done here. But, you know, I said last week how I am itching to knit. Well, I made some purchases. Did I show you the pattern? I don't know whether I showed you the pattern last week. A new pattern came out by a designer named Amba O'Brien that is absolutely gorgeous. And so I bought it, and I bought yarn. Now, I only bought yarn for this because I already know that I do not have in my stash the yarn I need to make this. Isn't that pretty? So, the yarn is on its way to me. My friend Maria up in Arlington, Texas, is sending me some needles to use until I get my needles. So I hope I should have everything here by my next video, by this time next week. So I hope to be showing you some knitting next week. So excited. I need to knit. I need to knit. All right, guys, that's all. I mean it this time. I hope you guys have a lovely weekend and a lovely week until I see you again. Again, thank you for all of your kind comments. I love talking to you guys. You guys make me laugh. I am not caught up. I will get there. But I do love chatting with you, either here, on my Facebook group, on Instagram. You guys make me smile. And I'm glad to know that I make you smile and I make you laugh. That makes my day. So until next time, you take care of yourselves, and I will talk to you soon.